And Mr. Commissioner Remick, would you please lead us in a flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we move on to the next item? Roll call.
Commissioner Flowers,
Present?
Commissioner Nelson. Present. Commissioner Remick.
Present.
Commissioner Sheeler.
Present.
Commissioner Van Duker,
Present.
Vice Chair Shisco,
Present.
and Chair Price is absent.
Okay, let's move on to item number 3.
Consent calendar, approval of minutes for April 24th, 2024.
Do we have a motion to approve minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Commissioner Remick
Second.
and second from Commissioner Flowers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to item number 4.
Can
Or-
you just, that motion passed.
Okay, so motion passed.
Public comment is next.
Next, let's move on to the next item. Item number 4. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Public comment.
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the audience may address the commission on any item within the jurisdiction of the commission or on any agenda item. Those wishing to speak on non-agenda items will be called upon at the beginning of the meeting. Those wishing to speak for or against an agenda item will be called upon after the presentation by the City Planning Department and applicant for that agenda item. I have no speaker cards.
Okay, looks like we have nobody to comment. We can move on to, one moment.
Next item.
Let's move on to the next item.
That's public hearing, item 5A, 7430 Greenback Lane, use permit, PLN 24-02. The applicant is requesting approval of a use permit to allow existing convenience store to upgrade their current alcohol license from type 20, which is beer and wine, to a type 21, which is distilled spirits. Project planner, Allison Bermudez.
Good evening, Commission. Nice to see all of you. I did want to take a moment to introduce some new faces tonight in our audience. If you don't know Officer Taylor, she's here. So welcome, Felicia, to our meeting. We have a new city attorney with us tonight, Nancy Ashgian. Will be our regular attendee attorney to help us through land use. So welcome, Nancy. And then those that haven't met our new commissioner to fill our vacancy, Kelsey Nelson, welcome. She was sworn in tonight, so this is her first meeting, so we'll show her the way. So, all right. So we get started on this item. The Happy Mart, as mentioned by Stacy, this is a use permit request for Happy Mart, which is close by us here across the street, the corner of Shoup and Greenback Lane. It's one of the little convenience stores in that strip building. They've been in operation for a long time. They sell typical convenience store items, including beer and wine, and they are requesting to add distilled spirits. So some background on this site. It's a small store. It's about 1,250 square feet convenience store. It's been in operation for many years prior to the city's incorporation. When we incorporated in 1997, it was in operation. Several owners throughout the years. This current owner has owned it for about 2 years now. And as mentioned, they sell a variety of food, snacks, typical sundry type items you'd find in a convenience store. They're requesting to add distilled spirits to their product mix. So currently they hold an alcohol license type, what we refer to as a type 20, which allows the sale of beer and wine. They have requested with ABC to upgrade that license to what's called a type 21, which allows them to also sell distilled spirits. The zoning code has provisions for businesses selling alcohol, along with provisions for convenience store operations. So the zoning code regulates the hours of operation, security measures that the convenience stores must follow, and it does require the use permit for the sale of alcohol, and it does provide restrictions of bottle sizes, of different bottle sizes depending on the type of alcohol. This is what we call a non-conforming establishment, so which means that when the store opened many, many years ago, use permit was not required. It was a legal use. They could sell the items they sold without any restrictions. Over time, prior to the city's incorporation, a use permit became a requirement for stores selling alcohol. But since it was in operation, it was able to continue operating without that use permit. But the code does require that at such time they want to expand their operation, they would have to obtain that use permit. And so that could be an expansion where they physically expand, or that they expand their offerings, which in this case they are expanding by adding this distilled spirits. So therefore the use permit provision kicks in, and so that's what they're requesting tonight, is that use permit to allow them to expand their product mix. So when they expand, then they have to comply with the current regulations. And so in 2009, the city adopted a pretty comprehensive update to our alcohol regulations. The city council went through an extensive study review process and changed the code and put some provisions in there in the code that's been in place since 2009 that will be applied to this use permit. And what those provisions were convenience stores that sell gasoline can only sell beer and wine. So if you're at a convenience store that has gas and they're selling distilled spirits, it's kind of known that they've been doing it since before 2009. Convenience stores, including ones that sell gas, can no longer sell single-sized beer, less than 32 ounces. So single sales, if you go to a convenience store and they have single beers, 18, 24 ounces, 16 ounces, that means they've been selling them since before 2009. Current regulations are they have to be 32 ounces or larger, or in some sort of multi-pack. So you could have like a 16-ounce container, but it has to be in some sort of package from the manufacturer. And then distilled spirits are not sold in bottles less than 375 milliliters. As mentioned, Happy Mart was considered a legal non-conforming establishment because that use permit did not exist. They do sell a variety of sizes currently, including beers in the smaller containers. With this use permit approval, these conditions that have been in the code since 2009 will be applied, including those sales restrictions. So that the business will have to phase out their single containers and only sell the 32 ounces and larger. And then when they add this distilled spirits, they will need to comply with those size restrictions. I do want to point out that I put on your chair a revised conditions of approval on condition number 5, where I had left off the distilled spirit size limit to 375 and larger. So when you make your motion, if you would consider the revised conditions. As mentioned, it's a pretty small store. It's about 1,250 square feet. Here's a floor plan. As you can see, typically that beer is in the cold cases in the back of the store, which is about less than 60 square feet of floor space. And then the distilled spirits, when they add that to their product mix, they will be stored behind the register, which is really suggested and keeps away from the grab and goes and stuff like that. So it's behind the register, about 200 square feet of sales. Their hours of operation will remain the same as they are today, which are 7 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., 7 days a week. And then they are required to keep their digital recordings of the store monitoring for at least 30 days. On these types of applications, we do work in partnership with our police department. That's why Felicia's here. They review the stats or any calls for service that are unusual for the vicinity or that facility. And so through that review, they found no concern for the store the way it currently operates. So therefore, we are recommending approval of the use permit. As required by the code, we do put out public notice when we consider these types of items. We did notify the neighborhood area of the application. The project's been listed on the city's project viewer that's on the website. We publish it in the newspaper as required, and then we also mail notices to all property owners within 500 feet. And we received no comments. The project does go through CEQA review as required, and this is exempt from CEQA since it's an existing facility. It is exempt from that. I have motions here before you when you're ready. Also, the project applicant is here. Should you have any questions that I can answer, he'd be happy to answer them.
Do we have any questions regarding this item?
I have a question. How many liquor licenses of this type are in that? It's by voting precinct that the liquor licenses are?
Not voting precinct, it's by census tract.
Census tract.
Yeah, and I don't know the number. ABC regulates the issuance of alcohol licenses, and it's based upon population. So we have, I think, 8 census tracts, and I think almost every one of them is over-concentrated. And generally, that's because we're so heavy commercial, and it's based on population, and commercial obviously has more alcohol sales. So any new application that's received is generally considered over-concentrated and has to go through that public convenience process where the city council has to grant them that application. In this case, they had an alcohol license in existence already. Then they're just upgrading it, so it's not considered a new license.
Got it. Thank you.
I do have a question for the applicant.
We need to open public hearing first, please.
Yeah, let's go ahead and open public hearing.
Hello, sir. I'm just curious, do you have security cameras on the outside of the store?
Yes.
Also?
Yes.
Have you had any problems with loitering and that kind of stuff in the store?
When I first purchased it, there was a little bit, but currently there hasn't been any issues.
Okay,
And even the neighbors are happy because we don't allow anybody to hang out
All
in
right.
front,
okay,
or we refuse to sell.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. That was my question. Thank you.
any other.
Besides loitering, have there been any law enforcement type actions
No.
at the, since you've been the owner?
Zero.
Any-
Yeah, it's been zero.
Zero.
And sir, would you please just state your name for the record?
My name is Prabjinder Tiara.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more public comments? Any questions for the applicant?
I have no comment cards.
All right, and we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion and a second for this?
I'll move that we adopt Resolution 24-05 determining the project is categorically exempt from CEQA per Section 15301, existing facilities of the California Environmental Quality Act. Should we do these together? Okay. And approve a use permit for PLN 24-02 to allow the addition of distilled spirits at an existing store located at 7340 Greenback Lane, subject to the amended the findings listed in the staff report and the conditions of approval provided as Exhibit A and as amended.
And I'll second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Van Duker and a second from Commissioner Flowers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Let's move on to the next item.
It's going to be item 5B, and that is 6100 Auburn Boulevard, Sunrise Tomorrow Hotel parcel map, PLN 22.
One second, I think I missed
Yeah.
something. I need to read the language,
Yes,
right?
thank you.
Okay, so for the prior item for 5A, any determination by the Planning Commission may be appealed to the City Council by filing a written notice of appeal and the appropriate filing fees, $250 with the city clerk, not later than 10 calendar days after the date on which the determination is made. And thank you. Let's now move on to the next item.
That's going to be item 5B, 6100 Sunrise Boulevard, Sunrise Tomorrow Hotel parcel map, PLN 22-27. The proposal would involve splitting an existing 2.acre U.S. Bank parcel into 3 parcels, 1.4 acres, 0.093 acres, and 0.03 acres in sizes respectively. Project planner Casey Kempinar.
Good evening, Vice Chair and Planning Commission. Casey Kempinar, your Community Development Director tonight. Pleased to be here tonight to present to you a really exciting project for the city. So tonight, the Planning Commission is a recommendation body. Because this has a development agreement as part of it, the council would have the final say on both the parcel map and the development agreement. So we are recommending that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the tentative parcel map to split it into 3 parcels, approve an ordinance which adopts or approves the development agreement, and then also determining that the Sunrise Tomorrow EIR is the appropriate level of environmental review for the project. So just a little background, I know you're all familiar with the Sunrise Tomorrow specific plan. The plan calls for a variety of mix of uses, including hotels, offices, residential, and uses that don't currently exist on the site. So this proposal is consistent with what was envisioned in the plan. The subdivision allows for 3 parcels. One would allow a future hotel, the existing bank parcel, and then a third smaller parcel for a retail or restaurant parcel. So it's really aligned with what the plan envisioned. You can see here, this is on the southeast corner of Sunrise and Greenback. You can see the existing U.S. Bank building will be on its own parcel in the northwest corner. The larger parcel to the right would be where the hotel would go, and the smaller parcel to the south would be where a retail use would go. This is a site plan showing that potential hotel footprint. Wanted to make sure that a hotel would fit on that parcel, and obviously it does. This may not be the exact final layout, but this same footprint would accommodate up to 110 rooms, which is what the applicant has discussed as part of the development agreement. As you can see here, this is the illustrative site plan. It's turned sideways. I apologize. Greenback is on the left, Sunrise is on the bottom. You can see here, and as part of the specific plan, it called for a hotel in this exact location, so consistent with the specific plan. In addition to the parcel map, the project includes a development agreement, and that is what that is. The Planning Commission probably hasn't seen one of these, but it's an agreement between the developer and the city to make sure that the milestones that are required from both parties are well understood and documented, and it vests the rights of the approval for a longer than a normal approval would, to allow some opportunity to adjust with the market. So it does still require a future design review permit for any future hotel. So that would, any development over 5,000 square feet would come to the Planning Commission. So the hotel would obviously be larger than 5,000 square feet, so that's something that you would see in the future. It memorializes requirements for the public improvements at Sunrise and Greenback and who's in charge of what. It also has helps to ensure participation in an infrastructure financing district, includes necessary right-of-way to build a future bus rapid transit along Sunrise Boulevard, provides for infrastructure upgrades, and also has operating standards for the future 110-room hotel. So that's to make sure that the hotel is consistent with the vision and the plan and the city's expectations, including some streamlining opportunities. If it is a 3-star minimum hotel and a pre-approved brand, they get a more streamlined process. And it also includes provisions to ensure that it remains a hotel for 25 years as part of that development agreement as things go forward. From a CEQA standpoint, as you're all familiar, there was a really thick EIR that was prepared as part of the Sunrise Tomorrow plan, and being that it's consistent with the assumptions of the plan, the EIR is acceptable. And also there's an exemption for minor land division, which this would adhere to because it's consistent with the specific plan and all the services available as listed on the screen. So in a nutshell, the project is consistent with the general plan. It's consistent with and is really our first step forward in advancing the Sunrise Tomorrow specific plan. It's consistent with the EIR, and then the development agreement provides certainty to and additional opportunities for review as the future development applications come in. So that is my presentation in a quick nutshell, but also wanted to point out that we do have amended conditions of approval, that are on your dais that are minor changes and tweaks based on some feedback with the applicant, and staff recommends you adopt those as amended. So I'm here for any questions you may have, and the applicant is here as well.
Fellow commission members, do we have any questions?
I have a question. I am very excited about the whole Sunrise Tomorrow project, and this is by no means a deal breaker or anything. I have questions about the amount of parking, though, and also, once the division is made, it looks like most of US Bank's parking spots will be not where the front door is. And for a 110-room hotel, I'm only seeing a couple dozen parking spaces. Is that?
Okay, I would address that in a couple of fashions. There's shared parking across the site for all the users as part of a reciprocal easement agreement. But in addition, the state last year passed AB 2097, which prohibits the city for enforcing minimum parking standards within half-mile transit.
Aha, thank you.
Was that for commercial property as well, not just residential?
Correct, any sort of development within a half-mile of a major transit stop, which this would qualify, all Sunrise Boulevard qualifies for.
The change in conditions may address one of my questions, but I tried to, in going through it, tried to end up basically summarize it. Given that there is a necessary right-of-way for future development of the intersection, Greenback and Sunrise, and also the Green Loop, or Trail Green Loop, or whatever it's called. Is the would you feel that the language in the agreement covers the city from the perspective of current values and future construction costs? I guess that's the best way I could phrase it, frankly.
Yeah, I think, we went over it very carefully with our city attorney and the applicant's attorney to kind of hammer that out, and we think it, covers both of us from a construction standpoint as much as you can. Can't cover all inflationary costs, obviously, but I think it is a fair approach to how it will happen when it actually happens.
Okay. My other question is that within the actual agreement in Article 3, I can give you the details, where it's at, but in Section 3.06, talks about a first-class development, uses that language, first-class development. I felt that was a little bit perhaps subjective terminology, who's first class, and I would suggest maybe consider changing it to a quality and appearance consistent with a 3-star or better hotel or something along that language, and tie it back into what you've already required in terms of 3-star or better.
I don't see a reason why we can't match that language.
My own suggestion.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Any further questions? Since our applicant's here, any questions for the applicant?
We need to open the.
And for that, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing.
I actually had a quick question, too. Casey, so maybe this was mentioned, I'm just not clear. Is the applicant, is there more in addition to this particular parcel that they are owning, or is this just the piece of this land over there that they own?
This applicant owns the roughly 2 acres or so of the northwest corner of the site.
So this is makes up the entirety of
Correct.
what they own? Okay. And I know you showed the pictures in relation to the actual current building that's there. So if the hotel will go into the far right there, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, okay. And so that's where I was looking at, where it was positioned in relation to the existing building there. So the applicant at this point doesn't own anything more but that little corner.
That's correct.
Okay, very good.
I also have another comment. Frankly, this maybe is for actually the proponent. Probably within the last 6 months to a year, when I was at US Bank, and I did have a brief discussion with them, and they said that they were planning a multi-million-dollar improvement of that facility. Now, whether that person really knew it for certain, I don't know, but that's what he said. I passed that word back to city, that was the rumor, as it were, from somebody on part of their staff. So what you want to do with that is up to you, I guess. Why don't you come on up, please?
And would you be able to also state your name for the record, please?
Patrick Elwood. They were all set to go with the remodel, and for whatever reason, they pulled the plug on it. And the facilities person that I have been in contact with since we bought the property is sort of beside himself, doesn't understand why. It just came up from someplace up above, and I've been trying to get more color as to what happened, and so is he. And so I don't know, as we sit here today, we actually delayed this hearing till we found out more about that, to make sure there was no conflicting issues. And when we got that word, we accelerated this process. So
Okay,
I know nothing more than that.
interesting.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I actually do have another question. So is there something in the plans other than the hotel for US Bank and the other existing parcel that you're wanting or desiring to split off?
Well, since we have a long-term lease with the bank, this development plan was designed to work around the bank. And so we don't have any plans for the bank beyond them staying throughout their lease and their options. The other parcel is yet to be determined what our use would be there. I think we want to get the hotel moving first and then spin off of that. But the hotel site was designed to be a standalone site without the other parcels being involved.
Right, good, just curiosity, good.
Do we have any further questions, any comments from the public?
I have no comment cards.
And
I wanted to say I support Commissioner Sheeler's amendments, subtle amendment to the explanation of what the hotel would look like. Just would like maybe a discussion on whether we can amend that to express his concern.
Good evening. My name is David Bowie. I'm the attorney for the project and for Mr. Elwood. And having come all the way up from the Bay Area, the lower Bay Area, and fighting some traffic, I have to say a couple of words here no matter what.
Yes.
But just to second what Patrick said, there is a longer-term lease with the bank. We understood the bank was interested in making a major renovation of the building. We would certainly support that. We actually put this on hiatus for a bit, expecting to work something out with the bank. I think we still will, but at the moment, we don't have any further information. I heard the comment that was made about the update, minor change in the language. We don't have a problem with that. That's certainly consistent with what we want to do anyway. And I would remind all of you that this is really a template that we're at right now. You're going to have multiple opportunities to look at the specific project, to be involved in design review and other aspects of it. So certainly we want to accomplish that same goal. It's in our interest as well. So you'll have more than just a few opportunities to comment at a later time. The parking issue is not really an issue here. We have reciprocal parking easements everywhere. Parking is going to be something we're going to have to work out over a period of time as a part of the project. And the point behind the subdivision itself is that it will enable us to move forward with exactly the type of development that you're looking for in this specific plan. Because without the subdivision, we really can't carve out and make the hotel a reality, and we can't carve out and make the other parcel a reality. And I will tell you, Patrick didn't, but he'd gone quite a ways toward coming up with a user for the smaller portion as well. That would be the third parcel. We didn't quite go together, but we really are pretty confident that this is going to come together as we move forward. And we, of course, want to time this whole thing so that we get in a position where we've got someone lined up and really ready to go. But we're looking for this opportunity. We've had a great relationship working with staff and everything to date. It's been very supportive. Everything's been totally harmonious, which frankly has not been my past experience with many jurisdictions. So we're looking forward to seeing this become a reality. So thank you. Any questions, we're happy to answer, and we're looking forward to continuing.
thank you very much. If we have no further comments, questions, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. And how do we proceed with the motions? Shall we combine them into three? And how do we deal with the amendment that was requested by the commissioners?
If we have general consensus on the minor amendment to the development agreement, I suggest we add that to motion number 3 and just add as amended, and we will fix the language as directed.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second for the motion?
I think you need to.
Oh,
Oh, just summarize first? Okay. Motion to move to recommend that the city council determine the previously adopted Sunrise Tomorrow specific plan, EIR, is the appropriate environmental document for this project, and no further review is required. Do we vote independently? No. Move to recommend that the city council approve a tentative parcel map to allow the division of an existing 2.8 acre parcel into 3 parcels, 1.48 acres, 0.93 acres, and 0.38 acres in size, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the staff report.
If you could add, excuse me, as amended to that, I'd appreciate it because the conditions were changed slightly, so
As amended.
thank you.
3, move to recommend that the city council approve ordinance 24,
You just leave it blank.
okay, 20, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Citrus Heights, California, adopting and approving the Sunrise Tomorrow Hotel Development Agreement
I second the motion.
As amended.
as amended.
Second the motion.
Motion, we have a motion from Commissioner Remick and second by Commissioner Van Duker. All opposed, or all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I look forward to seeing the rest of it.
Thank you.
Any determination by the Planning Commission may be appealed to the City Council by filing a written notice of appeal and the appropriate filing fees, $250, with the city clerk not later than 10 calendar days after the date on which the determination is made.
We're going to move on to item 6, and that's general correspondence, presentations, and reports from city staff. And it's going to be item 6A, distribution of updated Planning Commission handbook. And that's going to be by Ally.
Commission, I was going to print out, hand the book to you of the updated rules and regulations as we change, since we're changing to Tuesday, starting in July. But I failed to print them for you. But I think I have emailed them out to you. If you want a printed copy, please shoot me an email and I'll get it to you. Other than that, they're on, you have them in your email. But as a reminder, we are changing to Tuesday, starting in July. I don't expect any meetings in June at this point, but we got several applications in today. It's been a busy day. So expect July and on to be rather busy. But we should have a meeting July 9th, which will be the first Tuesday. So if you're not here on Tuesday, I'm going to call you. I'm going to say, don't forget, we're Tuesday. So anyway, that's all I have.
And next item?
We have no further items.
All right, it is 6:34, and we will adjourn this meeting.